Hey, what's going on, guys? So this little review is going to be on the Sense Snatch. At Tackle Warehouse, they've got two different styles of the snatch. They've got the 70X, which is this one, which is just like their standard regular rattling system, and then they've got the FRS, the 70 FRS, which is their faint rattle system. I opted to go with the latter one because I like my lipless crankbaits to be fairly noisy. The 70X has a length of 2.75 inches. It has a weight of 5/8 of an ounce, and it's a variable depth crankbait because it is a sinking crankbait. Now, for those of you guys that aren't familiar with the 6 Sense stuff, they're very distinguishable by their patterns that they have. Now, basically, what you have in at least for me, but basically across the board. In the market, you have three different patterns of lipless crankbaits. You have like your bluegill style, like this one here. You have like your red crawdad style, like the LV RTO here. And then you have like your shad style, like the Jackall TN here. And basically what this is, what I'm trying to tell you guys is, of these three styles that I normally buy, because I normally buy a lot of shad ones, a lot of red ones, and then a lot of bluegill ones. And then depending on the year and my target, like if I'm targeting up shallow, like right now in the spawn, I would like to use something like this bluegill style, because that's a natural forage for bass, because bluegill tend to eat a lot of the eggs during the spawn. So bass are targeting a lot of bluegill around this time. So you take these crankbaits and you throw them up shallow and you bring them back to you, and generally you'll have some pretty good luck during the spawn by throwing a bluegill pattern lipless crankbait. Now, why I tell you guys this is, of these three patterns, 6 Sense seems to do just a really amazing job with this bluegill pattern. I mean, obviously you have this red, I think this is like a sunfish pattern, ballistic sunfish, but basically they have these really beautiful bluegill patterns. They've also got some shad patterns, but I think the biggest contribution that 6 Sense brings to the market is their patterns. You guys can probably remember when I did the square bill crankbait version. They're the same exact patterns, and they're very desirable because first of all, the bait is not terribly expensive. It's marked at $7.99 on Tackle Warehouse, but the patterns on it they're quite beautiful, actually. So that's probably going to be one of the biggest things that 6 Sense, in my opinion, is going to bring to the table. Now, as far as how the bait looks, we'll kind of just go over some of the features of the bait. Obviously, you can see that it's got the three-dimensional holographic eyes. Both of these baits have red eyes on them. At least the sclera is red on them. And both baits are kind of just in general just a very, I don't want to say the word generic because it kind of downplays how nice the crankbait actually is, but it is kind of just a generic shape, kind of like this LV RTO, kind of the same shape. It looks a little bit more like to me, like the what is this, the Rockin' Shad from Storm. It kind of has that same shape. Now the front leading edge of it is not as aggressive, like the pitch up here is more aggressive on the Rockin' Shad than it is on this one, but kind of give you guys some sound comparisons as well when we go through them here. But this is a red-eye shad from Strike King and your Excalibur XR50. Now, you can see, as far as some of the details are concerned, you'll see that it does have a scale pattern on it. Now, it's kind of hard to see because there's a painted on scale pattern. You can see the Argyle pattern there with the diamonds, but actually etched into the body of the bait is some scale pattern as well. You've got some raised gill plates on there, so it does have a nice fit and finish to the bait as well. And if this bait, as far as the finish is concerned, holds up as well as my squirrel bow crankbait version from 6 Sense has held up, then that'll be a good thing, because like I said, that's probably one of the biggest attributes of this bait is the color. If I'm going to pick up a bluegill pattern and I see this floating around inside the box, this is probably going to be the one that I'm going to pick up because it looks really, really nice and mimics a bluegill really, really well. Now, it does have a fairly loud sound to it. It's definitely not the loudest sound in the world. It's nothing like the Aruku shad from Spro. But this bait does have a really good vibration, which you guys can remember my review from yesterday. That vibration is something that I desire very heavily in a lipless crankbait, because that vibration that resonates up through the line and into your rod tip is going to be the thing that tells you, hey, do I have a fish on here? Do I have weeds on here? Am I finding weeds? Am I touching the bottom? If it feels like you're just kind of like retrieving a stick through the water, it's going to be kind of hard to tell what's going on at the end of your line, and it doesn't give you a whole lot of a lot of feedback. So this bait, by way of its feedback and through vibration and sound, it does give you a nice feedback through the actual performance of the bait. So that was something that I liked. It does have a good casting performance. Most lipless crankbaits do have good casting, so I didn't feel like it was exceptionally better from one to the next, but it wasn't below par either. So that's, as long as it's on par with other lipless crankbaits, in my opinion, that's pretty much where we want to stay. As far as the fall is concerned, it has a very quick fall, nose down fall, has a slight wobble to it. I was fishing it in slightly stained water, so it was kind of hard to see exactly what the wobble was doing, but it did have some movement or some rocking from side to side as it was falling down. So that's definitely there if that's something that you guys desire. For those of you guys that are fishing in, let's say you're fishing in 10 feet of water and you like to let them fall 5 or 6 feet after you retrieve them, pop them up, let them fall, and that's how you're catching fish. There's really no wrong way to fish a lipless crankbait, but for those of you guys that really desire that shimmy on the fall, kind of like the Strike King Red Eye Shad or the RTO from Lucky Craft, those two have great shimmies on the fall. So what else we want to talk about here? As far as the hardware is concerned, on the top we have an oval split ring, which is something that is nice, especially for a $7.99 bait. The split rings here on the bottom seem to be fairly nice too. They've got these flat facets to them, and in my experience, the ones that have those flat facets on them seem to be of nicer quality. The hooks seem pretty nice too, so I won't be changing these out. But overall, just a very nice looking crankbait. And like I said, if the squirrel crankbait there is any telltale sign of how this crankbait is going to perform out on the water, I actually did catch some fish with it, but how it holds up and all that stuff, then this is going to be a really nice crankbait for you guys. So got a couple colors here. These are the same two colors I actually picked up in the Squirrel Bowl crankbaits when I did my review from the Squirrel Bowl varieties back then. This is going to be the baby bluegill, so you got the green on the top. You can see it says 6 cents there on the top. Kind of has like a copper tone on the diamonds for the scale there, and green head, orange throat. So just a really nice bluegill pattern. This is baby bluegill. And this next one we have here is ballistic sunfish. Pretty much kind of the same thing, just the colors are a little bit different. I mean, you've got, instead of the copper diamonds, this has got more of a gold diamond to it. And instead of the dark forest green, it's got kind of like a red fading into a black on the very top. So, and just got kind of an overall yellow tone to the bait. Probably a very good bait to throw towards the summertime, or if you guys have got these really bright sunfish. This is ballistic sunfish. So there it is, you guys. Like I said, I really enjoyed this crankbait. The vibration is something that I look for. That's there, and the color pattern for me, throwing that bluegill pattern is something that is desirable for me, especially like right now when the fish are spawning. So if you guys like the video, please hit the like button down there in the lower left corner. I don't know which review I'm going to do next. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be one of the remaining 4 that I put on Facebook. So we'll see. Thanks a lot, guys.